Finally, we have some good news in Cleveland to talk about. Welcome in the Browns Report, everybody. I'm your host, Joey O'Donohue, and we've got a whole list of positive takeaways, so make sure you stick around for the end of the video because there's a lot of good signs we saw in Cleveland. But first, make sure you're a part of the Dog Pound family here on the Browns Report. We're pushing to 52,000 subscribers. Currently, we sit at 51,574. We only need 426 more people to smash that subscribe button, and you can get daily Browns news and content analysis every single day and live watch parties every week. So join the party. It's a lot of fun here on the channel. And let's get into our first piece of good news, which was Quinshon Judkins is going to be the real deal for the Cleveland Browns. Just as I had predicted all offseason long, he's what we expected him to be. He had 61 yards, on just 10 carries, and even broke off a 31-yarder towards the end of the game where he looked electric. That's an average of 6.1 yards per carry for Quinshon Judkins. That's incredible. Also, he gained 57 of his 61 rushing yards after contact in week 2. That's 5.7 yards after contact per attempt. He ran strong, angry. They say Judkins is a violent runner. We saw that, especially on that 31-yard pop where he could not be brought down. He also showed burst as well as strength. And he had 3 receptions for 10 yards. So he's even got a little bit of ability in the receiving game for the Browns, as well as Dylan Sampson. It's going to be an incredible duo to watch all season long. And now I feel a lot better about the running backs we have in Cleveland's room. You look at the depth chart. With Judkins at the 1, that's going to be the case going forward. Pair him with fellow young rookie Dylan Sampson, who celebrated his 21st birthday on Sunday and caught a touchdown pass. It's going to be electric. A lot of good receiving, a lot of good running that I saw. And then they're still utilized for it in the return game, in fact, because DeAndre Carter was out with the concussion. And big Raheem Sanders can be brought in at the goal line to punch in touchdowns. So my takeaway is it's clear that Cleveland has found their running back 1 for the season. It's going to be Quinshon Judkins, just as we expected going into it. And he looked great. And like I said, you get both Judkins and Sampson in there, that's an electric mix, a duo you're going to see for a while in Cleveland now because they're young, they're signed, and they look good and poised to finally get Cleveland back to the ground game that they've liked to use in years past. Another great running back duo for your Cleveland Browns. That's some good news. Other good news came from another rookie named Dylan. How about Dylan Gabriel? When he got in the game, albeit it was garbage time, but he was perfect. 3 of 3 on his one drive, and it even led to a touchdown. So that's promising against the Ravens defense that was swarming Flacco all day long. And it's even better because it was a touchdown pass to rookie Dylan Sampson. The throw was perfect. You see Gabriel where he is in the pocket, stands there and delivers with a couple Ravens in the area, and Dylan Sampson looking like a wide receiver, running a good route, getting some space, and he caught that ball in the back of the end zone. Rookie to rookie, Dylan to Dylan, touchdown Browns. That was a promising sign, and I hope we see some more of Dylan Gabriel because they're going to have to move on from Flacco at some point. Just 4 turnovers in 2 games for Flacco. I haven't loved it. I say by week 6, 7, we'll probably move on to Dylan Gabriel. And like the video if you want to see some more of Dylan Gabriel because I was really encouraged by that one drive. Again, it was garbage time. Probably didn't mean much, but there was a couple accurate throws, 3 of 3. Like the video right now if you want to see DG get out there sooner, or maybe you're a Shedeur Sanders fan, so you want to go through the quarterbacks quicker and see DG and then see SS. How about some more positive news for the Cleveland Browns? Another good takeaway, Mason Graham. We didn't get to talk about him much in week 1, kind of an up and down performance. Week 2, his impact was clear and it was felt. He was a run stuffer. The Baltimore Ravens could not get through, and Graham finally filling up the box score a little bit. 5 tackles, 3 of those solo tackles for Big Mason Graham. Also had a massive tackle for loss on Derrick Henry in the backfield. It was electric to watch. And like I said, Henry couldn't get anything going all day long. Henry only had 23 yards in a game where the Ravens put up 41. He averaged 2 yards per carry. That's unheard of for Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the NFL. That is because Mason Graham was stuffing the run. His impact was felt, both in the stat sheet, but also if you just watch the film, a lot better performance from Graham out there today. Also, Lamar Jackson, who's used to running all over NFL defenses, Cleveland kept him in check with their defensive line. and their linebacker play. He only had 2 carries for a total of 13 yards. I mean, for real. Jackson and Henry just couldn't run. You never see that with the Baltimore Ravens. That's a credit to Cleveland's defense. And like I said, Graham was a run stopper. He was out there making plays, pursuit, following the football, and no one was running through him. I really love what I'm seeing from a strong defensive line in Cleveland. That's at least some positive news that we could take away from a pretty bad loss overall. You pair him with Myles Garrett, with Malik Collins, who was one of the best interior pass rushers in week 2 by the numbers. And so Garrett looked like the best player in the league once again. Not only did Myles have 5 tackles and 2 tackles for loss, but 1.5 sacks on Lamar Jackson. No one on any offensive line can match up with Myles Garrett. It's a mismatch every time. If you ever let him go one-on-one, which defenses are going to have to now because of Mason Graham, because of Malik Collins, because of Alex Wright. I mean, there's usually at least someone that checks Myles Garrett before he gets to his matchup, but it doesn't matter. He was in the backfield constantly. It was amazing. And you look at the sack leaders in the NFL right now for this early part of the season. Myles Garrett is number 1 already with 3.5 sacks. He's tied for first with Harold Landry and Carl Granderson. I mean, it's incredible what we are watching. Big Myles is back, and he's still playing like the best player in the league. He's the defensive player of the year that we know and love. And because of Cleveland's poor performance, people are getting worried that he's going to ask for a trade again. I really hope not. We were so blessed this offseason to be able to get Myles to stay in Cleveland. We paid him the big bucks, $40 million a year. And I absolutely think that we need to keep him. But I could see the rumors that people are scared that if the Browns don't win games, he might ask for a trade again. The reason he said he was going to stay was because the Browns had a quarterback plan. So hopefully the Browns do him right. Myles, we need you. You're looking like the GOAT that we know. And I think there's a little optimism. You know, I overreacted yesterday. If you saw my video, I was pissed off saying the season's over in my title. Well, you go and look at the back half of Cleveland's schedule. There's actually still a lot of beatable opponents. And because of all the encouraging signs I just talked about, because of how good the defense looked, because of how promising the rookies are, there's wins to be had on Cleveland's schedule. I think they could beat the Vikings. J.J. McCarthy might not even play in that game in London. Anyone could beat the Miami Dolphins. We could beat the New England Patriots. Anyone could beat the New York Jets. I mean, there's a lot of teams on here that Cleveland has a good chance against. The Tennessee Titans, also trash. The Chicago Bears, they might be worse than we are at 0-2. I mean, there's a lot of teams Cleveland can handle. Brock Purdy with an injury. Why couldn't Cleveland go into San Francisco and beat the Niners? Same with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'd say we beat them at least once, and we should have beaten the Bengals. Let's beat them the next time we play. Like, look at that. That's at least 10 teams Cleveland can contend with what we've seen so far. And as I said, they should have beat Cincinnati. So don't lose hope just yet, folks. And if all good news that I showed you hasn't wowed you enough, you won't believe this. Andre Schmidt, baby. Finally. We were so worried about it going into the game, and Schmidt made a 38-yard field goal. How about it? That's something that was probably one of the biggest storylines going into this Week 2 matchup. Should we cut Schmidt? Should we stick with him? Stick with Schmidt? I don't know. Well, he made a kick. Phew, huge sigh of release. We were happy to see that. So now what do you say after seeing him finally make all his kicks in the game? Should the Browns stick with Andre Schmidt? Let me know in the comments. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. I want to know what you think. I still think the Browns should add a kicker to the practice squad. Like, a little competition would be good because the job's his right now no matter what he does. Like, if he has another game where he screws us and misses an easy kick to win it, like, okay, great. He's still the kicker next game. There's no one else competing with him. I say you should have someone else lined up so that we can at least, put a little pressure on Schmidt to be good consistently. But for right now, he made his kicks. That's good news, and that's what we're looking at in Cleveland. Before I get into another rookie who looked really good, I'm excited to tell you that this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. And honestly, I'm just so ready that football is back on Sundays. All is right with the world, and I'm big into daily fantasy with PrizePicks. I'm obsessed with it because it makes all the games more entertaining. And before the Browns play, I lock in on all my players in my lineup and their player projections. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. And PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you could still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And I'm hoping all my picks for this week hit. First, I've got Josh Allen on Thursday Night Football, more than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. I think Josh gets it over the goal line. Then I've got a couple Joe Flacco player stat projections. First, I think Joe is getting less than 240.5 passing yards against that Green Bay Packers defense who shut down Jaden Daniels. I'm going less on Joe. But I love this little line we've got here. They have Joe Flacco at half a rushing yard. All he needs to do is get one, and I've got him getting more. We've seen him do that week 1 and week 2 on his one scramble. So that's my lineup. You can tail me if you want, or you can fade me. But download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Okay, you know who else looked good for the Cleveland Browns? Another rookie that's going to get you excited for a long time for things to come in Cleveland. It was Harold Fannin Jr., rookie tight end sensation, ladies and gentlemen. Not only in week 1 did he have 7 receptions and 63 yards, one of the top receiving leaders for Cleveland that week, he also had 5 catches again in week 2, 48 yards, averaged 9.6 yards per reception. Now through 2 weeks, Harold Fannin Jr. has 12 receptions. That's tied third among all tight ends in the NFL. Clearly, Fannin is a tight end for the long haul in Cleveland. Njoku is on a contract year. He's going to be expensive. He's also getting up there in age, and I love Chief Njoku. But clearly Cleveland has an answer in Harold Fannin Jr. for the long haul, a young, promising tight end who's been one of Flacco's favorite targets already. I mean, if you watched the game, you were probably frustrated like me, but at least you noticed through 2 weeks that Cleveland has impact rookies for days. I mean, there are years of bright spots in Cleveland now. Not to mention Carson Swessinger, who is a Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate, along with everybody else that I showed you, Quinshon Judkins, Mason Graham, Dylan Sampson, maybe even Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders going forward. You know we'll keep you posted on that. But I love what I've seen so far. What do you say? Rate the Browns rookies from what you've seen in weeks 1 and 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. Rate the draft class in the comments. Give me a number. Isaiah Bond as well, starting to get a little bit more snaps. We'll see if he can get worked in with his speed. I love it. Let me know what you think. Scale of 1 to 10 for those Cleveland Browns rookies. Folks, if you're still watching, you're a diehard Browns fan just like me. Go ahead, follow me on X if you're a Browns fan, at JoeyO70. I tweet some funny stuff. I mean, this was me watching the game last night between the Buccaneers and Texans. I said, I just watched Nick Chubb touchdown. I'm about to see a Baker Mayfield touchdown drive now, aren't I? Yeah, I was right. Gosh, it's heartbreaking being a Browns fan sometimes. But if you want to share that pain with me and just talk Browns football, go ahead, follow me at JoeyO70. I'll respond to all your comments on there. I'm pretty active on Twitter as things go. So thank you so much for tuning into the Browns Report. We'll be back with another episode very shortly. We appreciate all of you in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next time.